Tanya, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Very good program. And now another very important event coming up here before too long, the Texas Symposium. And we've been talking about that all week here now with Mark Lambert and Dr. David Gracie from the University of Texas, and also Mark here with the Texas General Land Office. Thank you both so much for coming in. Again, we've been talking about, first things first, before we forget, there's going to be a reception. There's a lot of big events surrounding the symposium. Tell us about the reception.
Correct. There's an evening reception. We call it a VIP reception, but if you pay for it, you can go. You're a VIP.
It's my kind of VIP.
Of course, Commissioner Bush will be there. Douglas Brinkley, who's a renowned historian at Rice University. His newest book will be on FDR, but he's done Reagan. He's done Walter Cronkite and Henry Ford and Gerald Ford. He did all the Fords. Chet Garner from the Day Trippers, one of the VIPs. Bruce Shackelford, who is a curator at the Whitty Museum, but has also been on the Antiques Roadshow for 20 years, so you might recognize him as a Native American expert. And Ross Bennett, who's a fashion designer in town and has his own clothing line. So that's at 6:30 to 9 on November 14th. And so if you come to that, it'll be in the old General Land Office building, which is, of course, was our building, and now the Capitol Visitor Center, just about a block and a half north of here.
Yeah, wonderful.
And drinks, and you get to hang out in the building and see where the GLO was kind of started. And hear about early Austin history.
Yeah, so many great things for people who are fans of history, history buffs, but also important history as well. And Dr. Gracie, I know that you'll be talking some about George Littlefield.
George Washington Littlefield, who built the Littlefield building, and in particular put the American National Bank first floor and decorated it with cattle art that is unique in the United States because it documented activity on his ranches.
Wonderful.
And the piece de resistance of it was 2 bronze doors, 10.5 feet tall, 3 feet wide, 3.5 feet wide, 7 feet when put together, weighed 2.5 tons. No other person who was a part of the great age of the cattle industry commissioned art of this character that represented life on his ranches.
So and we're going to look at some of that now. I think we see the doors right there.
Yes.
You talk about that cattle art, that Western art that you do see so much these days. I mean, I guess you kind of take for granted that wasn't always around the decor. I love it.
Well, it's art that the artist created to give you a spirit. What Littlefield did was to show you the activity on his ranches. Those steers' heads were the handles for the bronze doors. The bronze doors faced the intersection of 6th and Congress. Littlefield didn't pick just one street or the other. He commanded the entire intersection.
It must be so fun for you to be at events like this to share your knowledge about men like George Littlefield, but also learn and soak up history from other history buffs and historians.
Absolutely, and to look at Austin in ways you haven't seen it, because Austin was a cattleman's town between the period of the building of the Driscoll Hotel, which I'll talk about, and the building of the Littlefield building. Yeah. So between the mid-1880s and the early 1910s.
It is something to think about when you think about how much Austin's changed. We talk about since like the 1990s. I mean, it is an evolving place, but you can go back 100 years and 100 plus, and the changes will blow your mind.
That's true. That's very true.
Many of the things that we love in Austin, though, Moonlight Towers came during this time period. The old GLO building we know is probably one of the oldest buildings in town. The Pig War, which another speaker will talk about, was the old French legation building, and that dates back to the 1840s. Yeah, so the Austin we love now, these are the foundations of it. So that's what we'll be talking about all day on November 14th.
Wonderful. It'll be a fascinating time, and you'll learn something as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the preview. We appreciate it. We've been enjoying talking about this all week long. We'll be right back.